what's up everyone? This is Crow Gaming with my first video. And today we're talking about Valorant and my 1 week progression of changing my sensitivity. So if you're anything like me, when you first download Valorant, you realize just how fast your sensitivity was. My last game I played was Apex, and that game is all about tracking and keeping your crosshair on someone that's moving quickly. So it's beneficial to have a higher sense, right? Valorant is the complete opposite, where it's all about click timing and crosshair placement, more specifically clicking heads. So like anyone with no experience with tag shooters, I got placed in Iron 1 in the beta, which was embarrassing, right? Of how low of a placement I got. I'm a pretty competitive person, so the game telling me sucked, which I did, let's be honest, made me want to grind the game out. Currently my main account is placed in plat 2, and one of my alts is gold 3, mainly solo queuing, which is okay, right? But I felt stuck at this average, slightly above average elo. So when you're stuck, what do? Oh, my peripherals suck, right? Or my sense is too slow. So I bought a new mouse, right? I bought a Logitech Pro Wireless. I'm not telling anyone to do it, but I did. And changing that top of the line mouse made my old mouse feel like I was moving a brick on my mouse pad. So I think my old sensitivity was around 0.85 at 400 dpi, and I changed it to 0.6 at 400 dpi. So over the course of a week, this started feeling slow and limiting. So now I'm going to change it to 0.7 and see how that adjustment goes. And I wanted to document it because I feel like a lot of people are in the situation where they choose a sensitivity and it's starting to feel either too slow or too fast, and they're scared of changing it because they've already committed. So in this game I see a lot of videos trying to break down the perfect sensitivity. I think everyone's go-to reference for upping their own game is what do the professionals use? Like many, I followed the common YouTube advice of look how low Brax's sensitivity is and Hiko's is super high, fall somewhere in between. Okay, well that works in a sense. So what is the average sensitivity of pros? So you go to pro settings, which you can see on screen, and you can sort by eDPI. And eDPI is essentially your in-game sense times your DPI, which for me is 400. Some pros use 400 or 800. And the average roughly from eyeball look was 0.6, which is the original sensitivity that I chose my mouse to be. But here's where I made the mistake. Following that advice can be limiting because you're not honest with yourself, as you are an individual who is different than the average, right? So for me, I'm not a CSGO player. I don't want to smack my mouse 20 times on my desk to turn around. I'm not one of those high sense accurate aimers like Asu or Tens. I'm kind of somewhere in between, but definitely not towards the lower end. So 0.6 over a course of a couple weeks, it was too low. So I needed to up it to 0.7. So I think choosing 0.7 is important because I think the advice of changing your sensitivity to the average is good, but the next step is to choosing the sensitivity that's more closest to what you're comfortable with. So try the average and then see, okay, this is a little bit too fast for me, or this is way too slow and I need to increase it. However, if you're new, right, you don't need to stick to a sensitivity. You can always change it. Don't be afraid to change it to something that's more comfortable, which is something I will repeat in this video. Most of us middle elos, gold, silver, bronze, right, aren't pros, where they spent 10,000 hours in Kovaaks and they train 3 hours a day, and changing their sense would completely throw off years of muscle memory. Change it around now and choose what you know long term will be more comfortable. So now you have a sensitivity picked out. You need a solid warm-up routine. Unfortunately for us Valorant players, there really isn't a great warm-up system in place in-game, but a great way of warming up is having an aim training routine. Now, I know I just mentioned most of us aren't pro gamers that have spent thousands of hours in Kovaaks, but if you want to get better and jumpstart your muscle memory, copy what the pros do and download Kovaaks or Aim Labs if you want. If you want to spend hundreds of hours in Valorant and never reach higher elo, that's fine. But for people that want to get better, they must practice just like any other sport. Practice gives you the muscle memory, so when you are in those clutch situations, you can hit the headshot and not lose it and get yelled at by your teammates. Let's take a look at my warm-up routine throughout this week, which is specifically made for Valorant. You can check out Aimer7's guide on aim training, but essentially what I'm suggesting is mainly accuracy-based practices because there's little to no tracking in Valorant due to the one headshot capabilities of most guns. The video you've been seeing consists of my day 7 run of my warm-up playlist, so let's go through each drill to see what I do and some tips for doing them. This is my first drill. Why? Because it gets you in a mindset to be accurate and make small adjustments. How many times have you been lined up on a player and when they move slightly, you can't kill them? This drill is really good at teaching yourself the small mouse adjustments needed for most kills in Valorant. This also teaches you the ability to hit cluster targets, which is important for getting better scores in Kovaaks just in general, to see progression. This drill is super important for spray transfers or quick headshot one taps, which I'm terrible at. To quickly flick from one target to another is super useful in Valorant because many times players are together and you need to lock on one and transfer to another. The drill is super important as well because it hones in mouse control by varying the size of spheres, so you have to slow down sometimes to make sure you're accurate and then you can speed up to flick. This is a good second drill because it builds on the focus on accuracy with the last drill, but it also implements a new element, which is speed. If there was ever one go-to drill in Kovaaks, this is it. No matter what game you play, even if it is in Valorant, this drill is mentioned in almost every guide, and it's for a reason. One wall 6 targets is punishing, sometimes frustratingly so for inaccuracy. Not only do you have to hit these tiny targets consecutively, but if you miss more than 3 to 5 times, good luck seeing a new high score notification. In total, a good mindset to have going in this drill is the first round goes slow, focus on accuracy, and progressively get faster. Or try, like in my case, to hit at least 80 targets every round, so I'm close enough to my high score to build up to it consistently. This drill is a plain and simple. It sucks. There are times where you think you're trapping perfectly, but miss 3 times before landing a shot. This is one of 2 drills that have an element of tracking in them, but in a way that makes sense for Valorant. The drill teaches you to lead your shot in the direction one of the spheres will go, so it has an element of tracking plus target prediction, plus click timing or knowing when to click to land the shot. The drill kicks my butt every time, but it's super rewarding to hit 10 of them in a row. Finally, a drill where I can click heads. Not so fast. The drill is about target switching plus target prediction, and a small sprinkle of tracking. Click the heads and go quickly from target to target to build in muscle memory of spray transferring in Valorant. This drill is also fun and nice relaxing one after the dreaded passive. Okay, for a reflex flick, it's pretty self-explanatory. A sphere pops up, and I flick to shoot. This helps with obviously flicking, right? Wow, aren't we smart? Anyway, there are 3 levels, easy, fair, and hard, so choose whatever you feel comfortable with. By this point, you're almost 30 minutes in, so for me, I usually do 1 or 2 rounds of this, assuming okay, I get bored. This drill is okay, it teaches you small mouse adjustments and speed of those adjustments. So after completing all of that 30 minutes, you feel like you're Shroud. You can one-tap anybody from across the map, you can push oppers on long lines of sight, but you actually think you're ready to jump into a game, right? No, you're gonna bottom frag. You still need to actually click heads in-game. So before I jump into any unrated or competitive game, I go to practice mode and work on the hard bots and focus on some counter strafing. So if you don't know, counter strafing is stopping your player early by hitting the opposite directional key. So if I hit D, then to counter strafe, I'll hit A and let go of D. For the bot farming in practice, I usually try to get above 20 on hard when that's where I feel like my shot is just about right. After that, I work on peeking for a couple more minutes by going into spike diffuse, which I find pretty helpful. So this teaches you to peek around corners, counter strafe, and then one tap. This method of engaging has gone into my muscle memory at this point because of this drill of the spike diffuse in practice. So I'll show a couple of examples how this translates to real game. Okay, so after 30 to 35 minutes of a warm-up, I would suggest normally you're ready for a game. But if you're doing what I'm doing and just change your sensitivity, I don't really want to jump into a game that matters. Yeah, playing on Radiant's fun, but you're still going against players that are relatively close to your skill range, right? If you're on the cusp of ranking up or down, the decision to hop into a ranked game when just changing your sensitivity can feel like a mistake. Yes, rank doesn't matter, but if you grind up so far to a certain level and just because you change your sensitivity and it goes down, it feels like it's not really justified. So here's the problem. How do I get in-game practice against players that are below my level so I can gain up the muscle memory to compete against players my skill range? Because even if you play unrated, you're still going against players that are your skill range. The answer is to make an alt account, just like any pro player in existence. Hop into a game of unrated on a brand new Jetman account and drop a 30 to 40 bomb on people playing on a Leapfrog tablet. Again, copy what pro players do. I mean, look at Wardell. This man has 5 alt accounts and all of them hit Radiant. Making an alt is ultimately the best way to practice as you're going up against people that aren't at your skill level. You can practice counter strafing, you can practice only one tapping, and you can practice recoil control. It also gives your brain game reps to use later when you're trying to get out of plat 2 like me. Valorant isn't just about having insane aim, it's a huge part of it, but you also need to practice the mechanics that allow you to put yourself in positions to have good aim, right? How to counter strafe so you can get the shot out first. If you want to see more videos where I go in depth about climbing rated from someone who hasn't always been placed in Diamond or has CSGO experience and who mostly solo queues, let me know, because that's what I'm thinking in my next video. Literally starting from Iron to going to Platinum has taught me a lot about the game and about players on pretty much every skill range. So if I can get better at the game and ultimately reach that Immortal status, then I want to show that progression. So it's the end of week 1, it's day 7 now. All of the clips you've been seeing are throughout this week. I have some more I might make into a montage, so stick around for that. But for right now, I think the end of this will just be the short collection of high scores I got in Kovaaks over the past 7 days that shows my progression in aim training. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. You know, even if this gets a couple views, it will still motivate me to release more Valorant gameplay and show my progression. And if it helps one of you in being like, okay, I'll try Kovaaks or something, then that's even great. Alright, hope you enjoy and have a good day. See ya.
Last player standing.
70.